Good evening to you. Mark Sept with HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Pro and HD look at the latest on the tropics. Your evening video blog here. I want to go over the latest on Jose. Certainly is an issue out here in the western Atlantic just off the east coast. Winds are still 75 miles per hour. The pressure down to 977 or up, whichever way you want to look at it. And it is moving north at 9 miles per hour. If you look at the track map of it, you can see that Jose is well positioned off the coast here, far enough away to keep the tropical storm force winds away from the Carolina coast, but they may brush southeast New England up here over the next few days, and as such, tropical storm warnings are in effect. And basically throughout this entire region, you can expect swells, the occasional ocean overwash at high tide issue in some of the favored locations where that normally happens, and then Jose is expected to move on up and eventually start to weaken considerably over time and become a remnant low post-tropical as it does sort of this loop. And how it does that, how soon it does that, and really what ends up where it's located and where it tracks after that will bear a lot on what happens with Maria, which is coming into the scene later on. So looking at a satellite image here, this is the loop. The infrared imagery, if it'll pull up for me, maybe. Try one more time. Here is Jose, and you can see that the convection, pretty limited here, the center of circulation right there. Deeper convection just off to the northwest. Although some showers and thunderstorms just off to the northwest of that, but not quite reaching the coast, maybe a few spritzes here and there. But fairly strong north winds, north-northeast winds coming down to north, and gusting 35 miles per hour, maybe along the coast. Not quite the tropical storm strength, but this whole mess forecast to move northward and then turn northeast just off the New England coast. So it's going to be a lot like a potent warm season nor'easter. Now, this is a real problem, and this is Hurricane Maria. Looks like a buzzsaw here, very well defined. The round look to the central dense overcast, the eye starting to clear out, this very deep convection over here, this dark gray color indicating high cloud tops, etc. This is just a very bad situation, obviously, as this approaches Dominica here, and then eventually moving up in the general direction of Puerto Rico and the islands between here and there. Some of these areas could get a massive hurricane strike. It just depends on where that core goes. Now, luckily, the hurricane force winds extend out only a small distance from the eye, so it's not like everything underneath this red ball is experiencing horrific hurricane conditions. The hurricane force winds are really close to the center, probably something like that, and so the core is going to have to pass over a specific location for it to experience the absolute worst of the conditions. Nevertheless, the rest of this indicates, you see these blobs of red here, another one over here, and even more oranges and reds popping up. These are clusters of deep convection or thunderstorm activity, and that's going to dump a lot of heavy rainfall, and that whole swath of energy is going to spread this way and potentially bring over 2 feet of rain to Puerto Rico and some areas here along the path of Maria as it moves off to the west-northwest over time. Looking at the key messages from the National Hurricane Center, this is important. The wind speeds in the category will gain a lot of notoriety and will steal the headline, especially if it becomes a Category 5. But it's really the whole package here. We've got extreme winds, probably knocking on the door of Category 5 at this point, but also storm surge and heavy, heavy rainfall, as I mentioned. A life-threatening storm surge nonetheless. And all of this needs to be taken into consideration, not just what the category is. And there's this saying, it sounds cheesy, but there's more to the story than the category. And it's very, very true. So please, if you're in the area, you know people in the area, it's time for them to take this very seriously and to hunker down and be ready to survive a potentially catastrophic hurricane strike. I wish I had better news, but it's just the way it is. And we're going to be watching this radar very closely, and it's going to fill in, unfortunately, as the hours go by through tomorrow, and then again on Wednesday as Maria gets closer to the area. and we'll have to just watch, and probably going to feel kind of helpless. At least with information, we can do something to try to help people prepare by understanding what's heading their way, even if it is very violent. All right, wish I had better news for you, but sometimes that is the way it is. During hurricane season, you can get some pretty severe hurricanes, and Maria, no exception, it seems, this year. All right, that is it from me for now. I am Mark Sept, HurricaneTrack.com, reporting for Hurricane Pro and HD. I'll have more continuing coverage on Jose and Maria starting tomorrow morning.